Today, you will hear from some of our Empower Youth Leadership students from our region. We have a rural regional program that includes 7 different counties. Those counties are Crawford, Macon, Marion, Peach, Schley, Talbot, and Taylor. And we have fantastic students representing each of these school systems. It's an interview process that they go through after they have submitted an application to us for the Empower program. Students apply at the end of their sophomore year and they go through the program as juniors. Some of them are voted to become a mentor for the following year's group of Empower students. We also have a program called Washington Youth Tour that they get the opportunity to also apply and interview for, and that's where we send them to Washington, D.C. So you're going to hear a sampling from a couple of our students sharing their experience going through the program, how it's helped them to become better leaders, how they think it will impact their journey as they continue forward, and just some of their most fun takeaways and things that they want you to know about the program. If you know of a student in one of these counties that you think would benefit from this program, please share this podcast with them. The show notes are packed full of information to help you reach out and be a part of the program. You can also click on the link to learn more about Empower, and my contact information will be on there if you would like to reach out to learn a little bit more and see when you're eligible to apply. A production of Flint Energies, your local touch-tone energy cooperative. Front Porch Chats brings you along while we discuss interesting events, people in history, programs, and hidden gems located in Central and Southwest Georgia. Grab a glass of iced tea while we chat for a spell. I'm your host, Natalie Bradley, and today I'm here with one of our Empower students from Schley County High School, Miss Harper Bishop. Welcome, Harper.
Thank you for having me today.
We are excited to feature Harper because she was not only one of our fantastic Empower students, actually our 2023-2024 program, but then she's returned as a mentor for 2024-2025. It gets a little confusing with all the years.
Yes.
And she was also chosen as one of our Washington Youth Tour delegates, which is a really awesome honor. And it says a lot about Harper because it's a little bit of a rigorous program to get through. You've got to do a quiz and go through an interview process, and it's very competitive. So we're very proud of Harper, and we want to highlight her and some of the things that she's gotten out of the program. So Harper, why don't we start with, what do you feel like was your favorite part of Empower?
I think my favorite part would be being able to see not just 1 year of Empower, but 2. Like, you get to see how this program touches, yes, last year's group, but also this year's group, and how people just grow throughout the year. And it's just an amazing program to go through.
How do you feel like you grew in the program your first year?
I would say in the beginning of the program, I was outgoing at my school and around the people I knew. But when we got into a group or a crowd of people I didn't know, sometimes it was hard for me to, speak up and be that leader. But I think through this program, that really helped me grow in that area.
Yeah, I think that's hard for adults too. You get out of your safety zone or your network of people, and it's just uncomfortable. So I'm glad that, and I've seen you firsthand grow in that way. So that's awesome that you recognize that too. So what about the different programs that we do? Do you have a favorite that we've gone on?
I would say I really enjoyed when we went to Warm Springs this year.
Okay.
That was something we didn't do last year, but we did this year. And I thought that was just a great experience to see where a president that, I learned about in school, see how he was connected to our area and our state, and just the achievements he had for our state with the rural electrification program and things like that. And that I'm just not sure how our country would look without him. And it's great to see that.
Yeah, I feel like, granted, grade school was a long time for me compared to you, but I don't remember talking about it the same way,
No.
In history class. So yeah, they kind of hit on it slightly, but you just don't realize the true impact it makes to your own community. So I agree, that was huge. That's interesting that that's your favorite. How do you think that Empower is going to help you in like your future plans? Do you think that it's
Mhm.
just like a resume builder, or do you feel like it's going to help you in other ways as well?
I would say it's for sure a resume builder, obviously, because people can see that you're able to go through interviews and you can meet
Hmm.
certain criterias that people are looking for. But it also just lets people know that have these leadership skills and that your skills have grown over the years, and you can understand that sometimes you're not the leader you want to be.
Yeah,
And so you need to make changes in certain areas.
that's awesome. So, what do you think? Like, if there's any students or parents of students that are listening right now, what would you say to them about applying for the program?
I would say it is detrimental sometimes to not even apply because, like you say, you're never going to get it if you don't apply because that chance you do get it. It just creates such an impact on the person, and it doesn't just stop at the person in the program. The people they're around also see their changes, and that allows them to change for the better, and it just impacts more people than just the people in the program.
That's a great way to put it. It's like a ripple effect.
Hmm.
That's awesome. And I'm so glad you took that to heart. It's so true. You're
Hmm.
definitely not going to get it if you never put yourself out there. And I'm glad that you've gotten comfortable with being uncomfortable. So that's where the growth happens. What about Washington Youth Tour? What has that experience been like for you?
That experience was amazing. You know, they talk about it and they say how amazing it's going to be, but you don't really understand, I think, until you've gone on the trip and you've just bonded with over 100 people that you didn't know a day ago.
Right?
That now y'all have to understand that you're getting valuable lessons on this trip. You're getting to see, where our government works, how our government works, things of that nature. And it's just a great opportunity. But I think the true impact is not just while you're there, but all these kids in this program get to go home and they get to make an impact on their hometown and in their area that just makes our state so much better.
Yeah. What do you feel like you were able to bring home from that experience and like apply in your life? Like what have you seen in yourself, whether that's personal or I don't know, like preparing for college, that sort of thing?
Mhm.
Like what do you think that it's done for you?
The youth tour helped me realize that, you're not just here to better yourself.
Mhm.
Even with college and your school system and things like that, you're not here to better yourself. You want to better the people around you and your community and strengthen them, because even if you succeed and you do all these things, if your community and the people around you aren't that same way, it's hard to truly fulfill your idea of success.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. Do you think that it's going to help with your plans as you go into college, like having all these new contacts and having that experience?
It was great for me, for my future, to just meet all these people and have all these contacts, because honestly, almost any job field you can think of, there was someone there that was reaching out, that you could reach out to, that was there to help you and help you grow as a person and succeed. Even though I'm going to college in my same community, they have heard of these people with good reputations that I went on the trip with
Yeah.
that were leaders, so they understand their recommendation when it's coming from them, like how strong that is.
Absolutely. So, why don't you share with everybody what are your plans after high school? Since you're a senior, most
Mhm.
of the kids that are in our Empower program are juniors, except we do have one mentor that stays on for their senior year to kind of help the kids as they're going through their junior year. So, Harper's not like the rest of our Empower students. So, what are your plans after you graduate?
I plan to attend Georgia Southwestern to major in nursing and hopefully one day be an aesthetic nurse practitioner.
Okay.
So I would do things like Botox and filler,
Okay.
not the normal nurse route, I guess, but it's just what I enjoy and what a job field I think I would really succeed in.
Do you think that you're gonna stay in the region and open, like, a business in the area or work somewhere?
I think I will stay in the region because there's a lot of growing areas around here.
Yeah.
And you can always find some place and people that need something. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of growth in the
Yes.
region for sure, and especially close to, where you live.
Mhm.
I feel like we're just going to see, a lot of projections are showing even more growth in the next few
Mhm.
years. So that's really exciting, and I'm happy for you. So
Mhm.
thank you so much, Harper, for sharing your experiences with us. And we're going to just keep cheering you on in your next chapter.
Thank you so much, Miss Natalie.
I am here with one of our Empower students, Gracie Arrington from Schley County High School. Welcome, Gracie.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for wanting to be on here. Gracie's currently in our 2024-2025 class for Empower. So she's a junior at Schley County, and I'm going to let Gracie just tell you first a little bit about why don't you share your hobbies and interests, and what do you want to be when you grow up?
Okay, so I play basketball, and I started doing that when I was a freshman in high school, and that's really fun. But hobby-wise, I love to read. I recently just got into painting. I'm not a very good painter, but it's very fun. And then I love sports. I love watching sports. I love reading about sports. And that's my biggest things. And then I like to run when I hopefully want to go to Georgia Tech to major in industrial engineering with a concentration in finance and analytics.
Okay. What do you think you want to do with that, or do you know?
Well, industrial engineering's more about changing the way that systems are, and I would want to help change the fashion business sector because a lot of fashion is so wasteful, and secondhand fashion is proving to be a very lucrative business, and I would like to help streamline it to it be as popular as buying clothes firsthand.
That's awesome. Industrial engineering is actually really cool because it's so creative and
Yes,
scientific, and I don't know, I like how it kind of pulls it all together. So yay, that's exciting. We'll be stalking your journey in a friendly way. So Gracie, why did you want to be in the Empower program? What made you want to apply?
One of my friends, she's in the grade above me, and she was on the tour last year, and she talked a lot about how fun it was and all of the different things that she did, and everything that they did, it just sounded so cool, and she said that she learned so much from it, and I wanted to gain that experience too.
Hey, that's exactly what we want, and we did not prep Gracie beforehand on what to say. So what do you feel like you've gotten out of the program? I know that we're not finished yet, and we've got actually 2 more really intense sessions that we're going to do. But what do you feel like you've gotten out of it so far?
I learned what servant leadership is, and before that was at our first meeting in Reynolds. I always kind of thought of leadership as more of a demanding do this, do this, do this.
Yeah.
But whenever I learned about servant leadership, it was okay, I think that's something that I want to be a servant leader in my future, because I always thought that a lot of leaders were just kind of mean, but it showed that you can lead by example and you can be a good person and still be a leader at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think that a lot of adults, we're hoping that you guys find this out earlier than most adults have. And obviously you are. I think a lot of us learn later that it's not that way. That's not the best way anyway to be a leader. Yes, there are some leaders that are like that and they're very in your face, but a lot of times that's not a very good experience that people, have with those leaders. And your personality reminds me a lot of how I was as a teenager. So I know that you're very outgoing and you're not afraid to raise your hand and ask, for what you want. But some people are super quiet. And so it's kind of interesting to have you guys in the same room, and some people lead in a much quieter way. So do you feel like it's kind of been an interesting experience to see how people maybe lead from different personalities and different ways that they're wired?
Yes, ma'am. I think it's very interesting because for me, I love to talk, and so being able to structure things because I also I love organizing, and so I'm normally better figuring out a system and then helping people get to that system. But a lot of people are a lot whenever they're a quieter person, they have these skills to where they can say they'll do something and they'll be quiet, but everyone else notices it. And so like they're a bit better at leading by example than I feel like I might be sometimes. And it's been very interesting to see like through the program how some people, while they might not ask as many questions, you can see that they are like completely like absorbed, like they're really learning. And I like learning at the program too, but sometimes I'm like, these people, like they have a full understanding of what it is exactly that they're learning.
Yeah.
And that's always been interesting to see.
That is interesting. That's a really good way of putting it. So, out of all the different things that we've done so far, we just went to Macon and we've done economic development and community development, and y'all have done service projects in your own counties. We've learned about cooperatives and of where those came from. We started with Clifton Strengths and like learning about your own skill sets, and that's what we're going to finish with and get real deep on that. But what has been your favorite program, do you feel like, so far? Or do you have one?
I think if I had to pick, it would either be my service projects that we did or whenever we went to the Little White House.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the Little White House whenever I was like little, but I didn't really understand like quite the impact of like, hey, like
Yeah.
president. Because I know like I'd been pondering about this like more after Jimmy Carter passed away, but it's always kind of like interesting to think that somebody like as prominent as like a president cares about where we live and what we do, and just to see how like FDR like cared for the people in rural communities through like the Rural Electrification Act. It just really warmed my heart. I loved whenever me and my group did our service project because we decided to go to a senior citizen center.
Mm-hmm.
And we like made goodie bags for them. But my favorite part was being able to play bingo with them because they love bingo, and I actually got to call out the bingo numbers.
That's awesome.
It was so fun talking to them and like hearing about like what they did earlier on in their lives, and they were really sweet people.
I love bingo. and I love old people. Like you can find there's so much to be learned from our elders.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think the whole reason why my family and I moved back down this way is to take care of my grandmother because she was kind of by herself, and we moved next door to her, and all she wanted to do was tell her stories. That's it. And I think they have this sense of urgency as they get older. We'll be there one day. I'll be there sooner than you. And you're going to have that sense of urgency to share your story because that's all you got left, you know? So that's really cool that you guys chose that. And for those of you listening, like our service project, what we do every December is, you know, this is 7 different counties that we have that have come together in this Empower program. So it's a regional program. So 7 different school systems coming together. These kids don't know each other for the most part before we begin. And in December, they do a breakout project where they must choose their own service project in their own community. And then they have to see it through from start to finish. So last year was the first time that we did it this way. And Schley, I think that they chose to do the K9 Deep South Rescue, and they really enjoyed that project too. So, you know, you guys chose something totally different, which is great. Or if it had been the same, it still would have been fine. But I think what was interesting is like all of our kids last year, and I'm starting to hear like from you and some other kids from this year that they really, really enjoyed it. And I know some of you guys have done other service projects, but I think it's kind of different when you have ownership of it, you know, and you kind of get to choose, and it's not just somebody telling you like, okay, now kids, this is what we're going to go do. And it's helping you segue into becoming an adult. So I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yes, ma'am. It was like fun coming up with the project because we had like meetings like at a table, and I was like, wow, like I feel like an adult right now. Like that was just like it was a little bit like, whoa, like
you were having a conference meeting. Yes, I like it. I'm so glad. That's great. Is there anything else about the program that you just want to share, or anything that you would like to encourage somebody if they're a teenager and they're thinking about maybe joining the program? Like any words of advice you might offer?
I would say definitely apply even if you don't think that you'll make it. But I've learned so much about myself, like through like our Clifton Strengths assessments and just going out and trying to be a blessing to those in your community. And also there are a lot of very like talented people that we get to listen to speak. And it's really cool to have that opportunity.
It is cool. And they're all different. So it's fun.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
It's, you know, I like to hear how engaging they are. And the Macon one was super fun.
Was incredible.
And it was funny. And our CEO was there. They were talking about, you know, like their mayor having him do all the wild things. And they were talking about, everybody thought he was jumping out of a plane for one of them. And we all looked at our CEO and we're like, annual meeting? Like, how do you feel about this? And he's like, I'm game. And we were like, yes, we're going to be like Macon and we're going to be weird and wonderful. So
incredible.
So we learned too. Adults are learning at the same time. Thank you, Gracie. I really appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're going to watch and see what really cool things that you do. And I know that you'll make Schley County proud and you're making Flint Energies proud. And we're excited to partner with you and help you on your journey.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed today's podcast, we need your help. Please give us a 5-star review wherever you're listening to this podcast. It really does help us get this information out to more people about what's going on in Central and Southwest Georgia. Also, share this podcast on social media with your friends and family because it helps get more eyes and ears on what we have going on in our fabulous communities. Thank you.